Hey there, my foxy peeps. So, spring weather is here. It's beautiful outside. I mean, it's like gorgeous outside right now. We did have like 70 some degree weather yesterday, which was like awesome. But today, it's a little cooler, but it's also early in the morning yet, which oddly, I'm awake. But I was on a mission. I want to get my lawn cleaned up. I'm planning on planting a garden this year, but of course I only have like a little space where I can plant a few vegetables. So what I was gonna do was kind of put some in pots. So I bought some pots, and these pots, yeah, it says $3, but I only got them for $1.50 because I went to our local bargain mart. Yes, a bargain mart. And the bargain mart literally contains like food and stuff. It's like expired, but like I'll only like buy chips or something from there, which expired isn't all that bad when they're chips because, I mean, they're still, they're good. I've eaten them and they're still awesome. And I've bought like cereals and they're still awesome. I mean, they're only like expired by a year, because I always check expiration dates before I actually buy something. But I was like so excited to find pots for my garden, which I think these ones I'll use for my flowers, because I was planning on planting some different types of flowers. Not too many, just like 2 varieties, which I'll be showing you that too, because yeah, I'm gonna show you what I'll bought for my garden. So I got 6 pots, so I'm hoping that this is enough. I was gonna put some tomatoes in these, but I don't think these are big enough for tomato plants. I really don't know. I don't think so. So I'll actually have to go and buy bigger pots for my tomato plants. But at least, you know, I have an idea. So, put my pots over there. And I prefer to start my tomatoes inside. It's same with like flowers and stuff. And you can always just like plant it into there. So I got a seed starter. And the seed starter I got from the local Ace store. It used to be known as Lynn's Hardware, but it's no longer. It got sold last summer, I think? Last fall? Somewhere around there. So it's now just the Ace store. But I went in there and I got a seed starter, which is a 72 cell mini greenhouse. So since I got that big old window in the back, as you can see, I've got end tables that I can set this on, so that'll be alright for that. Set that down on the floor. And of course, I had a watering can, but I don't know what happened to it. So I bought another one, mainly because this one is blue and kind of pretty. So I bought it. It was a little expensive-ish. I think it was like $9? I'm not sure. But it has the tinier holes, and it's not going to be leaky like some of those that I bought. Like, I usually buy them from, like, Family Dollar. And those leak so horribly bad, and they don't, like, their little tops don't sprinkle. It's, like, literally just, like, tons of water comes falling out, and I don't like those. So, I figured I'll buy that one, since I got a bonus from work, and, yeah, yay. And, of course, you need potting mix, which is seed starting potting mix. So I bought a big old bag of that. Of course, I'm not going to need this whole big bag for my seed starter, but I'm also going to stick this in my garden, which I'll probably have to go and buy some more because, you know, I wanted my garden to be good and, like, have actual good soil in it, because one year when I planted a garden, it didn't turn out right. And I'm thinking it's because all I put in there, well, I put manure in there, but it's still, you know, my tomatoes went, like, ballooned huge, but I'm gonna try some of this in my garden this year, and hopefully that works out a little bit better than it did a couple years ago. And, of course, and this stuff is heavy, I bought some peat moss because I remember my dad always putting peat moss into the garden. And I'm not really sure if this really does, like, awesome for, like, vegetables or whatever, but it retains moisture and nutrients in your soil. So I figured put a little bit of peat moss in there because, you know, I have a wishing well out there and I was planning on planting some stuff in there, like my cucumbers and stuff. And I got, like, it's actually like a bush cucumber. So I think it'll kind of vine a little over, but not too much. So I'm kind of hoping that that works out, because that's what I'm going to do. And get to a bag here. I also had to buy a gardening hose, because I bought some cheapy garden hoses, like I said, from like Family Dollar, and they just don't hold up. They crack, they break, they leak. And I wanted a really good garden hose. Of course, I'm not going to show you that because that's like over yonders and it's like huge. And a sprayer, because I was actually thinking, I'm going to like wash my car. And since I got like 6 of these pots and probably not going to use all 6 of these pots, I'm going to use one so I can like wash my car later on. Of course, I'm going to have to go and get a chamois. And of course, that I will get at Family Dollar because that's like cheap. And I also had to buy a rake and some lawn and garden bags because I have tons of leaves sitting on my lawn right now and twigs and sticks and yeah. If I had a fire pit, I would just stick it in there, but I don't have a fire pit here, so that ain't gonna work out. But some more stuff that I bought. Of course, I bought some gardening gloves because I really detest like getting dirt underneath my fingernails. I mean, I will sit there and garden with my hands, and I'm not really afraid of that. I'm not like, you know, like, ew, dirt. But it's just that when I have to go to work, I don't want to have like blackness under my fingernails and trying to clean it out. And I mean, I use like everything to try and clean it out, and then it makes my fingers bleed. So I just bought some gardening gloves, so that'll work. And then, of course, because I have, you know, a little bit of gardening space, need a little shovel. And this is more like a spade than a shovel because it's narrower. It's for, like, digging, for putting what you've already grown into the soil. So this is, you know, going to be pretty handy for, like, putting, like, my tomatoes in pots and putting like my flowers into pots and all that kind of stuff, you know, and getting things like ready, which, you know, I have to like dig up my soil. Of course, I have a potato fork, which I asked my dad if I could borrow a rototiller, and you know what he brought me? A potato fork. He says, this is what I use, here you go. So I got a potato fork that I'm going to use to dig up my garden, which it worked 2 years ago when I had a garden. So I figured I'll just do it again with the potato fork because it, you know, I don't have a very big garden space, so it ain't gonna matter. And I needed that and this little hoe, which, you know, this will work also for like getting weeds out of my little tiny little garden space too, because I could just go all angry like at it and not have to like have a humongous huge hoe, because that, you know. And then, and in technicality, all of this like cost me $130 some at Ace for the potting soil and everything else, and you know. And I wanted to plant me some lavender this year because I read somewhere that bugs and spiders, well, I'm not really sure about the spiders, but I know bugs don't really like the smell of lavender. I was trying to find some peppermint around and plant some mint or something, because that'll keep like bugs and stuff away, because spiders don't like peppermint or whatever, what I read. So I figured, you know, plant some lavender. That'll keep some bugs away and probably hopefully keep some spiders away. And then I got marigolds. Now these actually keep spiders away. They are really pretty. I actually adore like marigold flowers, but they stink. That's the only bad downfall of a marigold, is they really do stink. But Growing up, I always seen my grandma and my dad planting marigolds always by their tomato plants. And, you know, 2 years ago when I had my first garden all on my own, I did not plant marigolds in my garden. And I had spiders literally infested into my tomato plants, where I didn't even want to touch my tomatoes because I was like, oh my god, there's a spider in there. And anyone who knows me, I am deathly afraid of spiders. And so I'm going to plant some marigolds around my tomato plants, and hopefully it, like, scares those little creepy little bugs away. Actually, right now, I have a spider sitting up on my ceiling, and if I could get to it, I would kill it. But I don't want it falling into my shoes in the corner over yonders, so I ain't touching it right now. And it's been there since last night when I got home from work, so I'm hoping it just stays up there. I hate spiders. And then these are the bush cucumbers that I got. They're called, I just seen something like fall. I think that was a seed. Anyway, I hope it was a seed, not a spider. But these are called Space Master Bush, which means they don't really, like, vine outwards. They're more for a tinier type space. And somebody at work actually, what's the word I want to use? You know, I'm really not awake right now because, you know, I work swing shift and, you know, I just woke up not too long ago. But, recommended. A person at work actually recommended, because I was informing them what I wanted to do, and they said that these don't take up as much space, and they only, like, stay in, like, a little cluster, and you get, like, an abundance of them, because he mentioned that he actually grows these, and he says he's looking for them again this year. So I was actually kind of amazed that I found them here in town, my tiny little town that I live in, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna grow those. And then, of course, dill. I think this also, like, keeps things away, like, bugs of some form, because, you know, dill, I love the scent of dill. And I don't think, yeah, you can kind of smell dill in this because, you know, it's dill. But I love to grow dill. So I was actually going to plant this in my garden as well. I might actually put it in a pot and have it, like, around too, because I think it actually, like, deters bugs as well. Because, I don't know, my granny always planted it, but my grandma loves to eat, like, she dries the dill herself and puts it in potato soup, and it is, like, awesome. I bought some store-bought dill because I was really craving potato soup, and I opened it up and I was like, oh my god, this does not smell like dill. Because growing up, we had fresh, dried, you know, dill, and it was, like, awesome. So I figured, plant some, dry it, have some. And the great thing with the lavender, you can actually eat lavender. So near fall, I can harvest it, bring it into the house, even, like, dry it or whatever, and just have the scent of it inside my house. That was one thing that I wanted to do. And then, of course, I love spinach. So I bought some spinach, and I'm going to grow some of that. And I'm actually going to get the pots that are at Ace Hardware. They're longer pots, so it would be, like, more smart to plant these in those. And I'm not really going to start the spinach or anything, or anything like that, or my dill. I want to, like, plant that straight into the garden. So I'm going to plant some of my spinach in those pots, and I don't think I really want to plant too much of the spinach. I'm not really sure yet, but we'll see. And then I got this lettuce, and it's Select Salad Blend, and I think it's just mainly, like, leaves, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's harvest leaves while young. This allows for closer spacing. And I actually love to eat fresh lettuce, and I like to like mix it with my spinach. So I like to grow lettuce and spinach, and I figured pots this year because I actually have like a little bit of a patio space outside. So I was like thinking that would be just perfect. So we'll plant some of this, and of course I always gotta plant my peas, which this will go actually into my garden space because I actually, you know, have a little bit of garden space, and I might actually like plant some marigolds in there as well to kind of deter any bugs from like attacking my plants. So I got peas. They're called Little Marvel, and they're actually shell peas. I kind of like the sugar snap peas, but I couldn't find any here in town. I don't know why, but this was all I could find, so I was like, fine, I'll grow these and just pick them while they're young, and then they'll taste a little better. Because when they get bigger, they don't taste as good. They seem drier, less moisture in them, and I don't want to eat those. And for my tomatoes, I don't really like the bigger tomato. I want to like a small tomato so I can just like plop it into my mouth. So I got the cherry tomatoes. And yeah, I might plant like 3 plants, and if I have to, put one of them into my garden space. But because sometimes when you grow seeds, they don't really take. So I'm gonna try. I was just gonna buy the plants, but I want to do this as my own thing. So instead of buying the plant, grow the seed, you know, make it feel like I did it myself. And if it doesn't turn out, then I'll just go and buy the plant. Fine. That's what I'll do. And then of course, I love these yellow beans. And this is a bush bean. I'm hoping it's a bush bean and not a pole bean, because that would really, really not be fun. Let's see. Cluster around the main stem, making picking easier to find, blah, blah, blah. I think it is like a bush bean. I'm hoping it's a bush bean. Cause, oh yeah, stringless and bush. So it's a bush bean. So that means you can like have a row of them and not have to worry about having a trellis for them to grow over. Now, when I was a real young kid, we actually had, you know, the pole beans. I hated those. They had like furriness on them. And, oh my god, my hair is like, all over the place. And they were like kind of furry, like a peaches, you know? And trying to eat those, and it was just like tickling the back. Yeah, I didn't like those. And then my dad and granny started growing bush beans, so they were a little bit better. So that's what I'm gonna grow this year as well, which usually that's all I ever grew. Like 2 years ago I grew these 2, and they just kept producing and producing. And I don't know how long the germination is for these. Oh, these say 54 days. So they'll be ready in 54 days. And I know I can't really plant anything yet till about maybe mid-May, possibly. But I am going to start my stuff early, which hopefully it, you know, goes pretty well. And these pots might be big enough for my tomatoes because it's just a cherry tomato. And I also thought about going down to Runnings and getting the cage thingy, so that'll kind of help out there. So that pot might actually be big enough. The only thing is it doesn't have a drainage hole. Absolutely no drainage hole. So I don't know if I have to like probably put some rocks in the bottom so it drains, or I don't know. It doesn't have drainage holes, but it should work anyway. Which, in a way, since I'm going to use one for, like, cleaning off my car and washing my car later on, that would actually come in handy. So, yeah, that's my little adventure of what I'm going to do for the summer, is do some gardening, because I love to garden. And so, thanks for watching. Like, comment, or subscribe, because I randomly put up videos. And have a good day. Bye!